of this freedom that we have. This we can fly, we can be whatever we want, we can be healers, we can go anywhere we want. Just a vague statement.
No, I get you. I very much share that, but that's for me personally. That's because I remember dying and ascending to a more ethereal state before landing in here again. And lately, well, I say lately, I mean the past few years, that has been something for me that has become more important. And although I'm very much comfortable living here and enduring this life and enjoying this life and having good memories and everything, I do almost hope that I will return to that state after this life. Even though it's not truly a draconic body that I will end up in, I do know it will be me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What happens after life? This is
A new
this is
life.
one of the biggest questions humanity. And
Pixie, you wanted to talk.
Yeah, I just felt like connected to the theme of Dragon of Metal because in the dragon shifting um, experience, I had this just visual of my dragon tail, and as you kind of see, like my dragon's more like bird-like than reptilian, and I don't really have like a long tail or anything like that. I also just feel more connected to like winged dragons more so than like serpent dragons. But a few months ago, my dad, who's also a dragon, I would say like both winged and serpent, he had gifted me this necklace that resembles like dragon scales, and so I've been saying that this was like my dragon tail. But it wasn't until this dragon shifting journey that I realized that almost it was as if this dragon tail that I'd received had now been visualized or envisioned as um, this bionic metal, silver, platinum, titanium tail attached to my draconic body, and it was so beautiful. So when I just heard the metal dragon aspect, I just had to jump up on here and share that. So thank you so much.
That sounds really pretty.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't really have any kind of connection to the more metallic or mechanical side of the community, but I can appreciate it very much. I think all of you look really pretty. But maybe that's also because you're always shiny, and shiny is good.
really
Always.
pretty as your Akia.
Hmm?
Akia is looking pretty as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're all so pretty. We're all very beautiful
No, that's
draconic
fair.
beings.
Definitely. Yes.
It would be a bit difficult for us to find some of our own kind in unkind light, really. I think we're always going to see each other as being pretty because we're all part of the same clan.
Mm-hmm. Same energy. Stardust in the end.
Yes.
I plan on being at the end of the universe, waiting for everything to contract again.
We will find out at some point if there's something there.
Good.
I am curious though. I don't know if this has been touched in any other panels, but on the topic of Draconic spirituality, does anyone have any belief systems that are specific to their dragon self?
I want to hear more. I'm in another, I think it's called Mythcord server, and one of the dragons who's also part of this summit, Aaron, had mentioned leaning into draconic lords, draconic gods, draconic deities. So I thought that was an interesting touch point. I don't feel like I necessarily do always like spiritually per se, but the way that I connect to my dragon self is very spiritual in nature. It's like it almost feels as like an aspect of my being in that way. I think maybe because while it is like embodied in the present, it's also a parallel lifetime timeline that I'm like inhabiting. So it feels like both here and then.
That is interesting and really
Yeah.
cool, actually.
Yeah, I actually have a spirit that is helping me out sometimes. I don't want to say too much details here because it's really personal.
That's fine. You don't have to share things here if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But having spirits is helping you is a good thing. They often can show us a different way or help us see a new solution to a problem.
Yeah.
I've had them in the past with me, more like a guardian type that was helping me along during my awakening, and at some point he figured I was, I guess, old enough or grown up enough or awakened enough to fend for myself, and he left, and that's been the last thing I ever saw of any spirit near me. I think I used up all my credits. As for a belief, I I think I've always seen myself as agnostic. There's probably something out there. I just don't know how to feel about it. I think I more enjoy the idea of being in balance with nature, and I don't think a belief is needed for that. Even though
Being in balance.
believing
Yeah.
that is a balance. Well, being in balance is a belief.
Yeah. Being in balance with nature is important for me as well. Yeah. But I'm doing like practical things out there. Having a car, for example, or
Has anyone heard of the term a phenology wheel?
no.
I have
Right.
not.
Oh my God, I just came out of one room and came out of another, and the sky is so beautiful. A phenology wheel. I just heard of it for the first time today. Um, I was actually making one myself, and then I got a notification for someone on Substack who was making it was like a call, and it was or live, and it was titled "Starting a Phenology Wheel." And a phenology wheel, I'll type the spelling, is kind of like, as was being mentioned, a way of being in harmony with the wheel of, or with nature, so to speak. And today being Imbolc, one of these like high holy cross quarter days in between the or the December solstice, depending on where you are, winter or summer, and then the spring or fall, March equinox, depending on where you are. It ties back to this like play or this, I guess, dance XYZ with nature that is almost like a beautiful balance that I appreciate being held within. So that phenology wheel is kind of a way of like tracking time across space.
Ooh, I do like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful concept.
I was checking Midcord, like I was wondering if you were talking about it in there, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I'm about to post about it on my threads because I made one myself. I was literally making in the middle of making one, and then I got this notification on Substack. That's why I love Sub. That's why I just honestly, that's why I'm so appreciative to have all these like social medias, just like being connected. Like literally, I was at one point, like this, of course, Dragon Summit was happening, which I'm so happy for. This is my first one, but I was also part of. I'm also part of the Dragon Thunder Talks. I don't know if anyone's aware of that. Shout out Kev and the English Mystic for
Oh, I've heard of
hosting.
that.
Yeah, it's an amazing space. He hosts a monthly Dragon Thunder Talk, and today was the first one for February, or the one for February. And I wasn't really even able to fully tap in. I was doing the phonology wheel, and then I jump in halfway through, and it was so funny because I was jumping in on that Substack meditation, making the phonology wheel. Then somebody else on Substack started guiding a meditation to discuss Imbolg. And then I was jumping in on the Dragon Thunder talk to hear him or to hear the share. And it was this lady who was doing a meditation through the dragon's self. And so it was all those kind of happening all at once. And yeah, like if I wasn't probably ADHD or something, I don't know. I'm not like diagnosed, but if I wasn't like multitasking, I probably would have been like overwhelmed and like overstimulated. But it was actually really helpful to kind of hear all of those things happening at once because it just made me feel like I was like doing all of those things at the same time, even though like I was not really. So that was fun.
Well, hey, at least there's some good in social media.
I know, right? It's connecting us right here, right now.
Yeah, that's why we do this. We used to do it every 6 months, but that became a bit much.
So now it's winter, summer?
uh, well, that it used to be a summer and a winter edition, but I think we'll just stick to doing it once a year.
Got it.
We'll
I'm
see.
making some tea
It
now.
it, it also depends on how busy Lunat is. Ooh, tea. That sounds good. I've just been having water, which
Life
is
is kicking in.
tasteless tea. Yes, if anybody wants to talk on stage about anything, anything about yourself, your draconity, your beliefs, your, well, spirituality, or not even, feel free to raise your claw.
Hmm.
And do remember, despite this being a weekend, there's always this spire where it's dragon time every day, every hour, unlimited chaos. Of
Oh,
course, that's okay.
I wanted to ask if anyone. You mentioned that it just, Dragon the Celestial Spire kind of being Dragon time all the time. And I want to ask if anyone is familiar with or practicing any consciously, actively gridding or working with ley lines and dragon lines or fey lines.
I
Mm,
do
from my
believe
side,
there are a
no.
few in the or in the Spire who do, but don't. I'm not sure if there's any in here right now. I personally don't. So, if somebody does, raise that claw.
Yeah, I guess I'll just talk about my experience with it. Um, Hopefully, if anyone feels.
Yeah, and maybe explain what each one is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know. I'm very connected to like lines and circles and spirals and labyrinths and all that stuff, shapes and form, centers and all. But I feel like I do see a connection between ley lines and dragon lines and fey lines, and I kind of use them all to describe the same thing. These like geographic or more like geotemporal, geospatial lines of energy that are flowing throughout the planet and the galaxy and space and etc. And I recently kind of fell into a rabbit hole around the prime meridian and the 45th parallel north and its contrast, the 45th parallel south. And I was tracing these lines across the planet, and I was just like, yeah, this feels like gridding. This feels like ley lines here. Like I didn't understand kind of what this was or what the people that were like mapping these lines were doing. But then I followed the lines and I was looking kind of where they met and what planets or what places they crossed through. And yeah, I was just like, wow, okay, these are really heavy grid points across the planet that are surging this energy, whether it's draconic, whether it's fairy, whether it's even angelic, etc. There's a lot of different, like, um, I guess, terms for it. But I feel like as like dragons, especially given our capability to fly, we and also like sea dragons too, holding space for them. We just have so much space to just like be in all these different places, and I think like all the space that we do hold kind of wrapped around even humanity and the world itself is like such a it's almost too easy to grid for us. So when I think about even like the Celestial Spire and it being Dragon Time all the time, I'm like, yeah, like all just showing up and being there or being where we are in our own personal space, but being together in that space is lighting up the grid, so to speak. There's probably a few of us that are crossed across or throughout those ley lines in the 45th parallel south north and the prime meridian. And I'm feeling out to each and every one of you all right now as well, and hopefully gridding this dragon ley line, dragon fey line energy out to you all.
Maybe that's what we've been feeling all this time.
I'm like going into numerology right now.
Uh-oh. I think there's a few dragons who are asking what the gridding part exactly means.
Oh wait, where? I didn't see.
Oh, in the panel discussion 14.
14. Oh shoot, sorry, I'm seeing the 15 one. That's probably why. Okay. Or wait.
That's the closing ceremony. We're not
Wait,
there yet.
stop. Oh my god, I didn't even know people were on here. This is crazy. Wait. What? Wait, so Aaron, you have been on here. Oh my god. This is cute. Jesus. Wait, so what is the conversation chat bubble that's connected to this? It's I don't know.
Oh, you probably mean the built-in chat of the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah,
jeez.
I think I will leave the stage. You.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't see this. Oh damn, I feel bad now. Hey y'all. Hey chat.
Chat's always been there.
I'm catching up now.
All those dragons. And none dare to talk on stage. Where's that draconic ego? Where's that pride? Come on, you can talk about yourself. What more do you need?
I'm reading this thing that said humans cannot physically or astrally become dragons or da 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 da. Oh gosh, who said this? Hate that. Um,
Conway's statements is
yeah,
what you
that's
mean, I believe.
weird. Mm-hmm. Um,
Yeah, we have stereotypes. And I think we are growing big enough now that we can even apply our human forms as stereotypes in certain ways that if you describe somebody, you might just assume they're also dragonkin.
mhm, it's true.
We're we're getting there. Like one of the common ideas is that all dragons are in IT, which
It's so
I'm
funny.
not, but that seems to be a thing.
It's so funny. No, I mean I see that. I think us as dragons are so multiplicitous and like even between the winged to the serpent, there's just so much overlay and we have so many different forms and I'm reading now Elegon, I see your cat dragon form. I even love that too. I feel like there's also I think like a dragon horse. I think it's called like starts with an L, something like that. Like it's like a flying dragon horse. Um the Lingon, I think it is. Lingon.
This sounds like the Kirin Longma.
Is that it? Logma?
Maybe?
Longma, yes, it is that. Logma, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
We'll have to look that up. I've never heard of that.
A winged horse with dragon scales.
Oh, wait. No, I think I've seen pictures of it. I was going to say photos, but well.
I mean, if you've been to China, you may have seen it in person.
I have not, but who knows?
Maybe not in this life.
Yeah, maybe. Or the next.
Maybe.
Well, I I rather not return to this planet. I mean, it's fine, but I have I have better places to be.
I'm saying, come on now. You're so cute. Oh, I love your shares. Thank you.
Been there, done that. Yeah, Moss is asking if there's a location you're spiritually connected to.
I'm still catching up. Oh my gosh. I mean, because the transhuman conversation kind of got me. Transhumanism used to be my entire thing. So I love that. Transnaturalism. Like, is that what we call this? Is that what we're calling this? I'm
I
here for
guess
it. I am here for it.
that's the good thing about this community. We can give it any name we want.
Any name we
Just
want. Anything
coin
under
a
the sun.
term and somebody will adopt it.
As long as you call me.
Yep.
Okay, wait. So actually, wait. Let me jump down then. So, who was asking? You said someone was asking. Oh, for the group, is there a location you're spiritually connected? I mean, like I was saying, I went around and up and down the Prime Meridian, and the 45th North Parallel or the 45th Parallel North. And I feel connected to a lot of places on that line.
Hmm.
That's what I would say.
I think for myself, well, I don't know. I always found it really difficult to really find a place here that I felt like I could stay in. I
Mhm.
think there's multiple places on this earth that feel like home or a place I can spiritually connect to. But the first one was definitely Iceland.
Oh,
Um,
really?
that
Oh,
that
wow.
that was just beautiful, and I can truly believe that a dragon lives there. I don't
At
care.
least one.
There is a dragon there, like a
At
legit
least one.
dragon.
I'm crying. I love it. Like in flesh, embodied, incarnate. Yeah, I can
Yes,
totally see that. Well, because there's
a
also like
real true dragon in the flesh lives there. I don't care. It's there.
no, I don't doubt it at all. I mean, it is there's anywhere for me personally that there's a volcano, there's a dragon because
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think we are such volcanic beings. I personally inhabit a volcano, or my dragon form does, and I just obsessed. I just love volcanoes.
Volcanoes are cool. I climbed one in Bali.
Ooh, the
That was
best.
really cool.
Mm.
Uh, we did it during the night, so by the time you were at the top, the
Yes, my
sun
friends
was
had done
coming
something
up.
similar. Yes, I love
Uh,
that.
that was also a moment where I was like, yes, this feels like home. Standing on top of a mountain, on top of a volcano, and watching the sun
Hmm.
rise above the ocean.
You've made a
It's
shift journey already.
yep. Mm, I do like trans neutralism as a term.
Right? That sounds cute. Sorry, I'm reading of these. I'm so happy these dragons are up. Talking about these ley lines is so cute. Okay, thinking still, these thoughts about ley lines are making me percolate odd concepts. I'm curious to hear what concepts. Ugh, I wish I was in Italy. Now I'm just in Italy. I'm in kind of inner world, but don't know if an external place connects to. For me, Bali is one of those places. Bali and the French Polynesian islands, Bora Bora, those are like where my dragons live.
Ooh.
You know, like I've envisioned it. Like I've seen the island, I've seen the place, I see it in my mind, and
It,
hmm?
oh no, I was gonna say like the weird thing is that the past life that I remember as a dragon, I lived in a very mm, mediator mediating weather, like just middle of Europe, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So technically I already live close to my home, but for some reason it doesn't feel homey.
Mm. Sorry, I'm responding via text because someone says
Yeah.
transhumanism is the same as transnationalism is the same as transhumanism without the human centric. And I thought transhumanism was the concept of moving beyond the limits, perceived limits of human condition.
Yeah, so it's moving beyond any limit of any condition of the natural world, I guess.
Yeah, so there would be
So it's more
so
encompassing.
yeah, so transnaturalism would be being beyond the perceived limits of the natural condition of nature.
Hmm.
So supernatural. Exactly, is what I'm hearing.
And nah, I don't think I would call it like that.
Really?
I wouldn't call it supernatural, but mainly because of the word or the intention behind the
Association?
word supernatural that most
Mhm.
people have. We can definitely see it as different, but most humans, when you say supernatural, will go like, "What?"
I know, but I love it. I love supernatural embodiment, supernatural beings. I'm reclaiming because for me, even dragons are fae. So I include dragons in. I did a
Hmm.
whole talk in Dragon Thunder about this on dragons and fairy genealogy. And it was super fun because I just dove into like this energy. It's on YouTube and everything. I can If anyone wants the link, they can send
I
it to
know
me.
the channel.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go.
But do share it in the chat for those who don't have it.
Okay, for sure. But yeah, it was just this whole like umbrella term of Fae, and I just want to be able to include dragons in that because I think my definition of Fae is broad enough to state any being that considers themselves to be of enchantment, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's such magic sometimes that comes through with dragons. I mean, I know there's even dragons among us that are more draconically like dragon-like, and I hold space for those as well. But my dragon self is very intimately connected, even specifically to the fairy realm. It's like I'm a dragon, like being within the domain of the fairy realm. So they're almost intrinsically connected in my space, more so than just being a dragon that is Fae.
Yeah. Sorry, Bela. I didn't see you.
Hello?
Bela!
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Hi!
I
I
hear you.
just love the name from Game of Thrones.
Ah, really? There, really? Hi. Actually, I have a question I was currently wondering about because a lot of spiritual orientated dragonkin have memories of, for example, dying or death in their past life, but it feels like for me there are so few memories of actually being born or like even being born in this life or in the life before that. So maybe just an open question, what do you think, where does this stem from, that we obviously have way more memories of death than we have from birth?
Maybe birth is the death of another self, and so we're just like still like reeling from that. Ooh, spilled some tea on myself.
I just always believe that that is the start of a new journey.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being born being the start of the journey. So it ends when you're dying. Not it doesn't no, I mean it starts when you're dying. It doesn't
You're right.
start when you're being born.
Right. I resonate with that.
But that's probably just me.
I did also want to share something on because I'm seeing it now come up again about my dragon. Mossy said your dragon self is part of the land, its form. Like you don't, like as a person, you don't have a spiritual component to your draconity. The dragon has a spiritual duty to its land. I love that note because I was kind of talking about like my dragon self maybe being like an island somewhere in like Bora Bora or like like Bali, like Indonesia. Um, I don't know. I'm seeing like, they say all these like, oh, this island is uninhabited, or there's no people, there's barely any people on this land, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, sure. Okay, there might not be any people, but that island is inhabited by forces and beings. And honestly, on a spirit, like on a fifth dimensional, interdimensional space plane, that's probably that island that dragon being is inhabiting. But it's like you're not physically there to see. It's giving like string theory.
Oh no.
I know, right? I know.
We're going deep.
Well, quantum baby.
But yeah, Bela, it's a difficult one, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, I've also made some thoughts about that. I've had some thoughts about that, and for me, it always felt like I kind of, how do I explain it? I kind of see it like some sort of I currently cannot form it into words. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's kind of I mean, for me, sometimes it kinds of come down the way we interact with each other. So I've sensed that in a lot of interaction here, actually in this life, that I see that we have like all our inner parts that in some way or another mix up, like the similar, like white light does, for example. When you put it to a prism, it consists of many colors. And when we interact with each other, and each of us have our own prism inside of us, and what comes to the consciousness, to at least what we feel as being conscious and present is like a mix up of not only our own presence, let's say it that way, but also in some way like the presence of the other, in the sense of that we almost instantly build an kind of inner representation of our surroundings and also of the other individuals that we see around us. So we always, when we interact with another being, it's almost like we introject that to ourselves, and we interact with a kind of with a representation of it, and also in this in the same way with the actual real individual in the outer space. And maybe, but that's just an idea of me, maybe this is not really formed yet. So I like what Moss said, that the mind is like really blank at the beginning, so we don't have a lot of that inner representations that we can apply to. So there's kind of a blank page. I like it, but that's just like some wibble wobble in my brains currently. So I hope it was in some way clear what I mean, but I don't think so.
I kind of get what you mean, but it might also be because our minds are very much aligned. I'm curious to see what the rest thinks, though. The prism part is interesting, though, because it's almost as if you accept another being and let their light shine onto you, then your prism will reflect light or let light through in certain colors, which will influence you. So you could almost see it as a way to how a relationship develops.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all have our prisms and we all have our filters. And in the end, we see a mixture of prism and filters. And it's really tough to say what has been filtered in the end and what's not, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, Moss. Start running.
I guess, I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical maybe, but I guess this goes down of the thought of constructivism, like that to some degree. I mean, like the real constructivism says that everyone or everything that is built is based on our minds, like the opposite of the materialism. So I think like when we in some way say that at least our perceived world is built by our minds in some way, at least not it's probably not 100%, but in some way at least, then our inner world needs to be built first. So maybe that's why there's so less memory of like birth and the time almost after. I mean, you can always argue it with like a biological approach and brain capacity and stuff, but yeah, that's probably also has a true side to it. I mean, that's the scientific materialistic point of view, but maybe there's like also another perspective to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think Moss wants to come up to stage, if I read it correctly.
Oh, sorry. I was in a different server. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, you guys.
Hey, Moss.
Had some questions. I guess mine is as someone who's not quite spiritually inclined, but know that there are quite a few people, quite a few dragons here that are more spiritually. My question would be about like definitions and like what a terminology of things are. So everyone talks a lot about past lives. And since string theory was mentioned here, what exactly would you call or define a life that's being lived in the same world at the same time, but maybe not on the same timeline? It's
I
concurrent,
didn't
different
I didn't
timelines.
get the last part, Moss. What did you say? But not on the same
Yeah.
time. What?
Not on the same timeline.
Wait. Okay, can
Like,
you repeat the whole thing again? Because I was doing something else, kind of. But I do work a lot with timelines, and I'd love to answer.
okay, so my question would be, like, what would you define? What would you define another life that is being lived, maybe in the same, like you're on the same plane, like here on Earth, right? Like everyone's, this is Earth. Everyone can agree it's Earth. Um, on the same plane, and then concurrently, as in events are happening like at the same time, like time span or time, like they're happening sequentially at the same time you're experiencing your human life. But
Yeah.
how would you define it if it's something that's in a different timeline? How would you define that as it's not
Well,
a
kind of just
past
like you
life,
mentioned it. There's because for
but
me
it's
it's the
a what
past.
life?
For me it's there's the previous timeline, there's the present timeline, and then there's the parallel timeline. So there's three of them. And I work with them really closely, especially when I'm like trying to like thread, because I work a lot with like what I call fairy genealogy, but since I incorporate dragons within Fae, it's also like dragon genealogy sometimes. And I'm always looking through the timelines to see kind of which timeline somebody is inhabiting this draconic or Fae energy. And yeah, so one of the timelines is the present timeline, one of them is the previous timeline, and then one is the parallel timeline. And that parallel timeline, as you mentioned, is moving through a concurrent lifetime. I also refer to it as your higher self. So it's that's what I would call it.
Okay, cool. Parallel. That's a nice word.
Thank you so much for asking. I literally love answering that question.
And then I had
Yeah.
another conversation topic is, I asked it in the chat, but I always love to see and hear about places and lands that people are connected to, because it's an overwhelming topic you hear again and again and again. Dragons are associated like super closely with mountains or forests or very significant elements, or like very natural elements, and or even like they always have like a dragon as part of its environment. And that's something I love to hear from people. And I just wanted to thank you for talking a little bit about how your dragons live in like Bali, and how it felt that maybe in this life um, they're not occupied by people in those areas, but that in your time, I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. If I can talk a little bit about mine, that's
Yeah,
quite
please.
similar to how mine is. So my like experience with Draconity is primarily focused on a certain national it's a national park in the United States, and it is somewhere called Glen Canyon National Recreation Area. It was essentially a Grand Canyon of Eden before they dammed it in the 1960s and they filled it with water. So these canyons were lush, just respites from the hot desert, with beautiful rivers running through them, and all manner of wildlife and deer and just beautiful reeds and fish and everything you could ever want out of an oasis in the desert. Um, and it's quite similar to what is now at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, the Colorado River. But ever since I had visited that place, like as a young human, like I felt incredibly changed by seeing that location, and like knowing that that location kind of changed something in me due to just how overwhelming, like the overwhelming power within that area. And that's when I say that um, my Draconity is primarily psychological, because I was like, my human mind was changed psychologically by this. And then for the dragon component, actually kind of what wound up happening is that now I have this connection to this dragon thing. And that affects me both psychologically, and then also it has a spiritual role to play in that place. Like I don't, but it does. And there's really funny separation here of of like how I define that. Because in modern day, like really, I'm not a very spiritual person. Like I don't do anything like that. But it is region locked, I would say. It is pretty much region locked, that whenever I am in that location, that is the only place that I'm able to make this connection to the land there and experience something that kind of gives me what other people would say they have a spiritual connection to, in their everyday lives. And it's very cool to be able to reach out and touch the sandstone walls at the same concurrent moment that my dragon is standing there in a different timeline. Does that make sense? So it's the same place, the same time, concurrently. It's just not the same thread of it. Like it's running on a parallel thread.
But I totally get it. But what would interest me, how do you, or how can you say that this is psychological? How do you exclude the spiritual aspect of it?
That's an interesting question. So I exclude the spiritual aspect of it because in my everyday life, primarily I experience it through psychological and for psychological reasons. There's a lot of reasons that my brain finds being, like going into the draconic dissociation mode is a very like is a coping mechanism, obviously. But that is something that I can recognize as like wholly a psychological experience. But whenever I've attempted to have spiritual experiences outside of this area and tried to take my psychological experience and try to like connect with it more spiritually outside of this area, it doesn't play well. Just doesn't work out very well for me. So I can kind of realize that like my human way of experiencing the psychological dragon that I have in my human brain is very separate from what I'm able to experience when I'm in a spiritual place and when I'm actually making a spiritual connection with the land and with my dragon in that kind of format. So it's kind of like my dragon is spiritual, not me.
So if I understand it correctly, it gives you some sort of framework, maybe like some boundaries where you can better grasp it.
I would say it's the only time that I can make that that I can bridge that connection in a spiritual way. Anytime else that I've tried to do that, it doesn't work out very well. Usually my dragon's like, fuck off. I'm not going to hang out with you when you're in an apartment, or like it opens one eye and then it's like, this is not the right environment, go away. Except for like when I'm trying to engage it psychologically, for example, like in a more non-spiritual, neutral, grounded like format. Like for example, I've been able to have dragon-like interactions in a more psychological way where I'm embodying that with my human body and experiencing it through my human body and feeling that, like my dragon self is present in everyday life. And when I feel that in normal everyday life, there's almost little to no spiritual connection to any sort of like mystical force, except for in this very specific area. And I guess a great question would be, has anyone heard about that? Kind of weird. Anyone got a name for it? Oh, I guess I would say a split between experience something psychologically and then being able to only experience like the spiritual side through very specific instances of like the otherkin framework.
Maybe I don't have an exact name for it, but for when you describe it that way, it feels like if you would describe the difference between a perception and a feeling. Like if you have a perception, you have this bodily response to an external surface or whatever that you touch, and when you have a feeling, you have like this inner reaction to the perception. And maybe you mean these two layers, if the first one, the perception, is a more, if you would say so, a more grounded way of perceiving it, like a clearer thing, and the response to it would be, and maybe to phrase it like the spiritual part, in a sense of that this is the part that is reacting to this perception, something like this.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting way to look at it. Thank you.
I've been always thinking about like what is the difference between a spiritual experience and a psychological experience, and as a working psychologist myself, it's really hard for me to differentiate both of them. I think in a lot of circumstances, it feels like that psychological terminology is basically more condensed, more condensed constructs that you can put to the test by experiments, and spiritual experiences are more like subjective impressions. But in a lot of instances, it feels like they represent the same thing. Like when you
Yeah, I think it's
for
very hard
example,
to make a distinction between them. I think one thing that I can say for my distinction is the way that I personally would be able to tell the difference is it feels the difference between connecting to something greater than yourself or connecting to just something within yourself. So like really significantly for me, any of my spiritual experiences have been feeling like I've been able to connect to something outside of my personal, like you were talking about, like your constructed brain, and like knowing, like, you know, having, like, reading all these like almost having like interjects of other people before, and then like that would be like my a psychological experience for me, is like knowing that all of the origins of the emotions and the feelings, or even like the body feelings or my heart rate or things like that, are coming from something within me. And then spiritual experience would be something that, you know, might be coming from outside of me, or that I've reached out to outside of me to be able to connect to.
Yeah, I mean, for example, what I've sensed it, for example, if you look, I don't know, into traditional Chinese medicine, for example, you have that meridian system of the bodily energy flow, and you have certain symptoms associated to certain blockages or blockades of certain meridians. But on the same side, when you look at it from Western biological medical point of view, there is no meridian, but there's, like, for example, a virus or bacteria or like a strained muscle, which causes the same symptoms basically, but it's just other, and maybe just other word for the same instance. You know, it's just a different wording. Like maybe in some instances a little bit more precise, in other instances a little bit less precise, but it's a feeling that, like, there's plenty of this overlapping stuff between both fields, and not just in TCM and medicine, but in a lot of other disciplines as well. So it's kind of hard, because when you think of it, like everything that we call like scientific or psychological or medical, I mean, it stems from an idea, right? It was first was the idea, and then the idea formed the construct, which could be measured, and so on and so forth. And that's how the idea got boiled down to something that could be empirically measured, for example. But there's a certain level that where this objectivity fails, and that is when it comes down to a point when it's just down to the experience. For example, when you do a statistical analysis and you have like 100 participants doing a study, and then you have 10 participants doing a study, and it's way harder to for example, say something about the whole population. But when it comes down to just one single individual, you can basically never, or almost never, say that something is or certain behavior, whatever you measure, is part of the population. So there's this subjective border that where basically the objectivity fails.
I guess my question would be then, as a practitioner or a researcher in this space, how do you help patients reconcile their spiritual experiences with like what is it based in reality.
I didn't get it from the audio.
Oh,
Can you repeat it, please?
Sorry, this might be a little bit better. As a practitioner, medical health practitioner in this space, and as a researcher, what is, I guess, your experience with helping people that have these spiritual experiences reconcile them with what's based in reality and how that affects them psychologically?
I think I don't really put a lot of emphasis to this. Like the question that is more important for me in the sense or in the field that I work is, are people able to differentiate between what's their inner world and what is the outer reality? Is there a connection still? And it only gets problematic when this connection is severed. It's not really there when they cannot get like inputs from outer reality and cannot differentiate what's basically inside them, what are their beliefs and their point of views, and what's outside of them. And I think that is like a very, very intense questions when it comes down to this, of course. And most and foremost of all, in every aspect, it is important. Is there a suffering? Like, for example, is the person itself suffering? Does it suffer itself? And if yes, what from what? Or is the surrounding suffering beneath it? And if both not, then it's basically nothing that needs to be addressed, at least in a medical psychological sense. Because every symptom needs, or every disease is based in its definition that it has to cause suffer either for the individual itself or for the outer world.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing.
I think I'm gonna pop down now, everyone. Thank you so much. This was so beautiful. Gonna still listen in. Appreciate it.
You're all very welcome. There is still time until the next panel. However, I have to get up at 8:30. Oh, that's okay. Well, still, it's past midnight here, so I will also leave. I know Alkura is in here, so there's another mod to do stuff if needed. Yes,
Akir,
Alkura,
before
yes.
you leave,
Yeah.
Akir,
What?
before
What?
you leave, thanks
Yes.
for being so spontaneous and help this panel to not go down. You saved that panel.
I did nothing. This community is doing everything. You're all doing it. You all made this panel happen. Insert Keanu Reeves meme. You're breathtaking.
No. You're breathtaking.
Oh well. I'll take the compliment.
Yeah. And
Yes.
I have to but I have to basically also go because European time zones, Schmeim zones. So I wish you all a great evening. Thanks.
Yes. Good night, everybody. From me, at least. And, well, if you want to continue this panel, you may. But you can bother Alkura for it. You have to do
Alrighty,
some
folks.
work.
God damn it. As if looking at a ticket queue from home when it's a lovely day outside wasn't bad enough. Now I have to deal with you lot. All right, so here's the lowdown of it. I don't have much stake in like the spiritual side of stuff, but I am more than happy to facilitate this conversation. Speak amongst yourselves and request to speak if you have anything you wish to mention.
Oh, he's so nice, isn't he?
I am absolutely wonderful. You know it, Sakir.
But yeah, good luck with this angry seagull. And well, I'll see you all in the spire, I guess, because by the time I wake up, the summit has ended. That feels weird, but we'll see.
Indeed.
Enjoy your day, everybody. And goodbye.
Alrighty. I see we're not really progressing much with any messages. So what I am going to do is close this panel. If you do wish to continue speaking, feel free to use the panel discussion main chats or any of the active voice chats. Yeah. Thank you for coming to the panel and have a good night.